Shri Gurubhyo Namaha, and welcome to the Sri Vidya Temple's online classes in chanting. Today, we're going to start the learning of a chant known as Shodashanga Raudrikaranam. And this is something that isn't normally chanted on its own. It's part of a larger set of nyasas referred to Mahanyasam. And this is something that also is not typically chanted on its own. Typically, this will be chanted at the beginning of a Maharudram or Atirudram. And the purpose of chanting Mahanyasam is to essentially prepare ourselves and purify ourselves to be able to chant 11 Rudras for that day. And the idea is that in order to worship Lord Shiva, you must become Lord Shiva. So in order to gain the right to chant Ekadasha Rudras, this Mahanyasam is chanted. So as part of Mahanyasam, this Raudrikaranam comes. And the interesting thing is that our Guru Haranaya, or Sri Chaitanyananda, the Pitadipati of the Sri Vidya Temple, he has selected this particular nyasam to be used for Devi Puja or Shiva Puja, especially during Pradosha Puja or the evening puja. And so that is typically what is used at the temple for Pradosha Puja. And the reason why he selected it is because the mantras he considers as very, very powerful and very purifying and very protective. So one thing I would like to do before we start is just share my screen and show the first set of mantras. Okay, so on my screen, you can see this is, so there's 16 sections in the Raudrikaranam, which makes it very convenient for doing Shodashopachara Puja with the 16 offerings. And so this is the first set of mantras. And so this is something that I discussed a little bit more in one class that was held maybe 2 or 3 years ago. It was a class on doing Shiva Puja. And so there was a little bit more discussion of these mantras. But you can see the different sections and the structure of this in the different colors. So basically what this is doing is this nyasam is combining certain bija mantras, and those bija mantras contain the vowels of the Sanskrit language, as well as the 3 vyahritis, bhuhu, bhuvaha, and suvaha. And those are fencing mantras from Rudram, as well as some Agni mantras. So here we have Om Bhur Bhuva Suvaha, the Vyahritis, and then Om so being the first Sanskrit vowel. And then if you look at the end in blue, we have this same set of bija mantras, but in reverse. So we have Om, and then Bhur Bhuva Suvaha, Om, which we pronounce as Bhur Bhuva Suvarom. Okay, so this is something known as Samputi, or fencing, when bija mantras are fencing something else. And that's a very powerful structure in itself. And again, just to look at the end in gray, we have Shikasthane Rudraya Namaha. So if we were chanting Mahanyasam and actually doing the nyasas, here's where we would touch the Shikha portion of the head and chant this part. Shikasthane Rudraya Namaha. I bow to Lord Rudra, who is established in the Shikha. If you're doing puja, you won't actually be doing the nyasam, but some people might like to visualize it or imagine it. So going here to the yellowish portion, these are the mantras taken from Rudra Namakam. And so this is going to be the same in each of the 16 sections or sets. So Namasham Bhave, Chimayo Bhave, and so on. So people will recognize this from Rudram as being one of the very, very critical nuclear sections of mantras coming from the 8th Anuvakam of Rudranamakam. And then if you look at the section in red, this is the part that is dedicated to Agni Devata. And these mantras are coming from another place in the Krishna Yajurveda, from the Taittiriya Samhita. And so basically there's one line that repeats. It's the same in every one. This Raudrikaranam Kena, that one repeats. But then this first part, Vibhurasi Pravahano, that's going to be different for each of the 16 sections. So that's, for most people, the hardest part will be pronouncing this little section, which changes in each of the 16 sets, because that's going to be completely new for people. They may already know Rudram, they may be familiar with this, first set, but this part is what will be the hardest. All right, so I just wanted to share that kind of basic structure. Now I'll stop sharing. Okay. All right. All right, so I just need a volunteer of somebody who would like to repeat the lines.
I can go first.
Okay, so we'll start with Charu Auntie, but first I'll just do the Ganapati prayer and then we'll start. Om Shuklam Baradharam Vishnum Shashivarnan Chaturbhujam Prasannavadanam Dhyayet Sarva Vighnopashantaye. Okay, so starting at the beginning. Om Bhur Bhuvassuvaha.
Om Bhur Bhuvassuvaha. Om Bhur Bhuvassuvaha.
Good. Notice the two Mahapranas, Bhu in Bhur and also Bhu in Bhuvas. Okay. All right, next we have the vowel. Om
Om
Good. Let's do that first set. Om Bhur Bhuvassuvaha. Om
Om Om Bhuvassuvaha. Om
Good. Okay. Now this next section comes from Rudram, as I mentioned, so many people may be familiar with it. But the thing that sometimes happens is that because we're so familiar with it, or because we've heard it, chanted repeatedly by different people, it's still easy for swara mistakes to creep in. Another thing that people sometimes do is they'll chant this section very rapidly because they're so used to Rudram. And then when they come to the next part, they either stumble over it because they're chanting too fast, or they have to slow down. So it's always good to maintain an even pace, very even pace through all the mantras, even if we're very familiar with it, just to maintain that steady pace. Okay, so let's just go through this as a review. Namah Shambhave Chamayo Bhave.
Namah Shambhave Chamayo Bhave. Namah Shambhave Chamayo Bhave.
Good. Janamah Shankaraya Chamayaskaraya.
Namah Shankaraya Chamayaskaraya Namah Shankaraya Chamayaskaraya Namah.
Good. Okay. Janamah Shivaya Cha Shivataraya Cha.
Namah Shivaya cha Shivataraya cha Namah Shivaya cha Shivataraya cha.
Good. Now I'll do the full line. Namah Shambhave Jamayo Bhave Namah Shankaraya Jamayaskaraya Namah Shivaya Shivataraya
Namah Shambhave cha Mayo Bhave cha Namah Shankaraya cha Mayaskaraya cha Namah Shivaya cha Shivataraya cha. Namah Shambhave cha Mayo Bhave cha Namah Shankaraya cha Mayaskaraya cha Namah Shivaya cha Shivataraya cha.
Good. In a couple places, there was a cha that should have been a lower swara that sounded like it was just coming at the middle note. It could just be because I'm not able to hear very clearly over the Zoom, but just watch out for the chas and make sure that you're following the swaras on those. Okay. Now let's take a look at the next line. Vibhurasya
Vibhurasip, Vibhurasip,
Pravaharno
Pravahano, Pravahano,
Vibhurasya Pravaharno
Vibhurasip, Pravahano, Vibhurasip, Pravahano.
Good. Now the next line. Raudrena nikena
Drenani kena, Raudrenani kena,
Good. Pahima agne
Pahima Agne, Pahima Agne.
Good. So here there's a couple examples of holding after dirgha, which oftentimes can be missed, but we don't want to miss that. So we have raudre, raudre. So there's holding after the rau. And then again, we have magne, magne. So there's holding after the ma. Another thing that sometimes happens is people may miss the dirgha ni and pronounce it instead as a hrasva. So we don't want to miss the dirgha there. Raudrena nikena. Raudrena nikena. Okay, so just wanted to point those out. And so I'll start again. Pipruhi ma mama.
Pipruhi, Pipruhi Mama.
Okay, so let's just take a look at the swaras on this one. Pipruhi. So here the r is a vowel. So there's no holding on ip. We don't need to say pipruhi because the R is a vowel, not a consonant. It's not a conjunct consonant. And the r goes down. It'll be the down swara, and the others are the udat, even tone. Pipruhi, pipruhi, pipruhi. Okay. Okay, that's it. And then ma is repeated 3 times in the 3 different swaras. Ma, ma, ma. Okay, so let me do that phrase one more time and then you repeat it 2 times. Pipruhi ma, ma, ma.
Pipruhi Mama. Pibruhi mama.
Okay, that's good. The swaras are good. Only thing was the he is hrasva. So you don't need to elongate that one. It'll get more accurate and natural as you practice, but I'll just repeat it one more time. Pipruhi ma ma ma. Okay, so there you could hear that the he in pipruhi is hrasva. Okay, and now I'll do the phrase with the final word. Pipruhi ma 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 hi gam si hi.
Pibruhi mama. Si. Pibruhi mama. Si.
Okay, good. You're coming in and out a little bit, so I couldn't quite hear all of it, but it sounded good. Only thing is there's still a little bit of a pause on the he in pipruhi. Okay, so just watch out for that. So now I'll do that full part starting from Raudrenani. Raudrenani kena pahi ma agne pipruhi ma ma mahi gamsi.
Raudrenani kena pahima agne pibruhi mama mahigumsi. Raudrenani kena pahima nena pibruhi mama mahigumsi.
Okay, good. So in some places, swaras are going off, so definitely just take some time to practice that one. And it'll start to become easier, especially because that section repeats through all the 16. Okay. All right, so let's just finish through, and then once we complete it, I'll do a little bit of sort of like drills of each section so that people can practice. But let's just finish up the last line. Om.
Om.
Good. Bhurbhuvassuvarom.
Bhuvassuvarom. Bhurbhuvassuvarom.
Okay, so here just make sure you're doing the lower swara on vas in bhuvas and va in varom. Bhurbhuvassuvarom. Okay, and finally, Shikhasthane Ratraya Namaha.
Shikastane Rudraya Namaha. Shikastane Rudraya Namaha.
Good. So something I just want to point out is that some of these mantras are Vedic, and some of them are not coming directly from the Vedas. So when it is Vedic, there will be swara marks, which you can see clearly, and we want to follow those. In the little sections where there's nothing, it's not specifically Vedic, there won't be any swaras. And so for those sections, people tend to chant them in a set way. So I don't want that to be confusing, but so the parts where it says om or om, and also Shikasthane Rudraya Namaha, those are not specifically Vedic. They're like other statements that are being added into the Veda mantras. Okay, so just to be clear about when we're following the swara marks and when it's not specifically Vedic. Okay, so thank you, Charu Auntie. So now I will chant the full thing through. First, I'm going to focus on this, the Agni Devata mantra, and do that several times because that's always the most challenging. So starting from the Bhurasi, I'm going to chant that full line 5 times. Vibhurasya pravaharno rautrenānikena pahima Agne pipruhima mamahigumsi 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 Okay, so that's that line. And now what I'll do is I'll chant the entire section through. Om Bhur Bhuvah Om Namah Shambhave Chamayo Bhave Chanamah Shankaraya Chamayaskaraya Chanamah Shivaya Cha Shivataraya Cha Vibhurasya pravaharno rautrenānikena pahima Agne pipruhima mamahigumsi Om Bhur-bhuvah-suvarom Shikhasthane Rudraya Namaha Okay, so does anyone have any questions on the first section? Okay, sounds good. Let me just check the chat questions. Okay, so Rupa Amma says that she can go next. That's great. Okay, so Rupa Amma, if you can unmute yourself, thank you. Okay, so now we'll start with the next section. Actually, now that we've reviewed, let's see, the only thing that's going to change from section to section is the vow and then the Agni mantra. Okay. All right, so I'll just be skipping the Rudra mantra from here on out. Om Bhur-bhuvah suvah Om Am
Om Bhur-bhuvah suvah Om Am Om Bhur-bhuvah suvah Om Am
Good. And now let's skip over the Rudra mantra to where it says Vanhirasi. Vanhirasi.
Vanhirasi Vanhirasi
Good. And here everyone should note that even though the spelling is, according to grammar, is with H first and then the N, due to the rules of chanting for Krishna Yajurveda, it's pronounced with the N first, followed by the H. So we don't say Vahni, we say Vanhi. Okay, and that's due to a specific rule of chanting. So just wanted to point that out. Havyavahano.
Havyavahano Havyavahano
Good. Vanhirasi havyavahano.
Vanhirasi Havyavahano वह्निरसि हव्यवाहनो
Good. Raudrenanikeena pahi ma agne.
रौद्रेणानिकेन पाहि माग्ने रौद्रेणानिकेन पाहि माग्ने
Good. Pibruhi mahi gamsihi.
पिब्रूहि माहि गुंसीः पिब्रूहि माहि गुंसीः
Good. Swaras are very good. Just watch out in Pipruhi. It sounded a little bit like Pipruhi, and that's probably because in the document, the root looks like in Tamil, the root will look like the R consonant. But just keep in mind that it's the Sanskrit R vowel. Okay, so there's no holding. We don't say Pipruhi, it's just Pipruhi. Okay, so the Tamil document is probably will not make that clear. So I'm just pointing that out. Okay, let's try the whole section from Raudre. Raudrenanikeena pahi ma agne pipruhi mahi gamsihi.
रौद्रेणानिकेन पाहि माग्ने बिभ्रूहि माहि गुंसीः रौद्रेणानिकेन पाहि माग्ने बिभ्रूहि माहि गुंसीः
Very good. The only thing I heard was the ni in Raudrena Nikena sounded a little bit short, just a little bit. Okay, so just hold that just a little bit longer. Let's try from Vanhirasi. Vanhirasi havyavahano Raudrena Nikena pahima Agne pipruhi mahi gamsihi.
वह्निरसि हव्यवाहनो रौद्रेणानि वह्निरसि हव्यवाहनो रौद्रेणानिकेन पाहि माग्ने बिभ्रूहि माहि गुंसीः वह्निरसि हव्यवाहनो रौद्रेणानिकेन पाहि माग्ने बिभ्रूहि माहि गुंसीः
Good. The second time you corrected some small swara issues in Vanhirasi, that section. So that's good. Keep working on that. So one thing that I did when I was learning this is I focused just on the little sections that change from each one. And I really drilled just those sections. And that's why these docs, which I formatted to highlight those parts, makes that a little bit easier. So that's something that I did. And that helped because the Raudrenani part, it repeats. So that will eventually become, very clear, very easy. But the parts that change are the hard ones. So those are the ones that I really drilled myself on. So that's just a small suggestion. All right, let's just do the last line. Om Bhurbhuvassuvarom.
Om Bhurbhuvassuvarom. Om Bhurbhuvassuvarom.
Good. Shirasthane Ratraya Namaha.
Shirastane Rudraya Namaha. Shirastane Rudraya Namaha.
Good. Okay, so what I'll do now is just like the last time, I will chant the Agni mantra 5 times, and everyone can practice, and then I'll chant the full section all the way through. So first the Agni mantra. Vanhirasi havyavahano rautrena pahima agne pepruhi mamahi gumsihi. 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 Okay, and now I'll do the full section. Om bhurbhuvassuvaha Om Namah Shambhave Chamayo Bhave Chanamah Shankaraya Chamayaskaraya Chanamah Shivaya Cha Shivataraya Cha Vanhirasi havyavahano rautrena pahima Agne pepruhi mamahi gumsihi. Om bhurbhuvassuvarom shirasthane rudraya namaha. Okay, so that's the second one. And I think that Anupama Amma said that she will do the next one. Okay, thank you. All right, so starting with the third one. Om bhurbhuvassuvaha Om im
Om bhurbhuvassuvaha Om im Om bhurbhuvassuvaha Om im.
Very good. In the bhuvas, I think the swaras were just getting switched. So just watch out for that. So the vas is what goes down, the anudat swara. Okay, so bhurbhuvas, bhurbhuvas, bhurbhuvas. Okay, so just watch out for that one. Let's skip over the Rudra mantra and go to the Agni mantra. Shvatrosip.
Swatrosip. Swatrosip.
Good. This one is challenging because it goes directly from the lower to the higher and then back down to the lower, which is a very unusual combination of swaras that is not common. So that's a little bit tricky. And I personally practiced that quite a lot because the vocal cords need to be trained to make certain transitions of swaras. And if we don't focus on those tricky parts, then eventually it'll come out in a way that we didn't intend because we didn't train the muscles and the vocal cords to chant the correct notes. So that is that section is something that is a good one to practice extra. So let's do the next word. Pracheta.
Pracheta. Pracheta.
Good. Shvatrosi pracheta.
Svattrosi pracheta. Svattrosi pracheta.
Good. And now let's do the next line. Raudrinanikena pahima agne.
Raudrenanikena pahima agne. Raudrenanikena pahima agne.
Good. Pibruhi mamamahigumsihi.
Pipruhi mamamahigumsihi. Pipruhi mamamahigumsihi.
Good. Raudrenanikena pahima agne pibruhi mamamahigumsihi.
Raudrenanikena pahima agne pipruhi mamamahigumsihi. Raudrenanikena pahima agne pipruhi mamamahigumsihi.
Good. And now let's do the whole mantra. Shvatrosi pracheta raudrenanikena pahima agne bibruhi mamamahigumsihi.
Svatrosi pracheta raudrenanikena pahima agne pipruhi mamamahigumsihi. Svatrosi pracheta raudrenanikena pahima agne pipruhi mamamahigumsihi.
Very good. And let's just do the last line. Im om bhurбhuvassuvarom.
Im om bhurбhuvassuvarom. Im om bhurбhuvassuvarom.
Good. I think there's just a little bit of switching of swaras in bhurбhuvassuvarom, based on what we're used to hearing when we say chant Gayatri mantra or something like that. The notation here is based on listening to Chalakere brothers. They have one recording on YouTube. So just watch out for the swaras. So in this section, the vas goes down and the va is also going down. So normally we're used to hearing subaha, but here it's suvarom. Okay, so it's just a little bit of a reverse here. Okay, so let's just do the final part. Murnistane rudraya namaha.
Murdhnistane rudraya namaha. Murdhnistane rudraya namaha.
Good. Okay. So now what I'll do is I'll chant the Agni mantra 5 times and then do the entire section as review. Shvatrosi pracheta rautrenanikena pahima agne pibruhi mama higumsihi. Shvatrosi pracheta rautrenanikena pahima agne pibruhi mama higumsihi. Shvatrosi प्रचेता रौद्रेणानीकेन पाहि मा अग्ने ब्रूहि मा हि गुंसीः श्वात्रोऽस्य प्रचेता रौद्रेणानीकेन पाहि मा अग्ने ब्रूहि मा हि गुंसीः श्वात्रोऽस्य प्रचेता रौद्रेणानीकेन पाहि मा अग्ने ब्रूहि मा हि गुंसीः. And now the full section. Om Bhurbhuvah Suvah Om Im Namah Shambhave Chamayo Bhave Chanamah Shankaraya Chamayaskaraya Chanamah Shivaya Cha Shivataraya Cha Shvatrosya Pracheta Rautreenanikena Pahi Ma Agne Bibruhi Ma Hi Gumsihi Im Om Bhurbhuvah Suvarom Mordhnisthane Rudraya Namaha. Okay. So we've finished the third one. And let me just check one more comment. Okay, Surya Prabha Amma. You go next, thank you.
Sure.
All right. Okay, so we'll start with the fourth one. Om Bhurbhuvah Suvah Om Eem
Om Bhurbhuvah Suvah Om E Om Bhurbhuvah Suvah Om E.
Good. So I'm hearing the same switch in swaras in the bhuvas. So just watch out for that one. Maybe towards the end, I'll repeat those sections a little bit more so everyone can practice. But just take note of where the swaras are, break it down word by, or section by section, syllable by syllable, and everyone can practice that a little bit more.
Sure.
All right, let's skip over the Rudra mantra and go to the Agni mantra. Tuthosi.
Tuthosi. Tuthosi.
Okay, this is another tricky one, and I think I also did not quite get it out correctly. So it's going directly from a lower swara to an upper swara. Tuthosi.
Tuthosi. Tuthosi.
And that's it. Vishvaveda.
Vishvaveda. Vishvaveda.
Good. Tuthosi Vishvaveda.
Tuthosi Vishvaveda. Tuthosi Vishvaveda.
Good. Let's do the next part. Raudrenanikena pahi ma agne.
Raudrenanikena pahi ma agni. Raudrenanikena pahi ma agni.
Good. Pibruhi mahi gumsihi.
Pibruhi mahi gumsihi. Pibruhi mahi gumsihi.
Good. Raudrenanikena pahi ma agne pipruhi mama higamsi.
रौद्रेणानीकेन पाहि माग्ने पिप्रुहि माहिगुंसि रौद्रेणानीकेन पाहि माग्ने पिप्रुहि माहिगुंसि.
Very good. Just notice in pipruhi, the he goes back up to the middle swara.
Okay.
Pipruhi. Okay, so just wanted to point that out. Let's try the
Okay.
full Agni mantra. Totho se vishpavedaro trenani kena pahima Agne pipruhi mahi gumsi.
तुथोऽसि विश्ववेदा रौद्रेणानीकेन पाहि माग्ने पिप्रुहि माहिगुंसि तुथोऽसि विश्ववेदा रौद्रेणानीकेन पाहि माग्ने पिप्रुहि माहिगुंसि.
Good. Pronunciation is very good. Swaras are going off, and it's always harder to get the swaras correct when chanting a longer line. And this is one of the longer lines to be chanted. So it's expected to have trouble at first. So we'll review this when we finish. Okay, let's just do the last line. Im om bhurбhuvasuvarom.
ईं ॐ भूर्भुवः सुवरो ईं ॐ भूर्भुवः सुवरो.
Good. Just take a little bit of review on the swaras of bhurбhuvasuvarom. Okay, when you have some chance to practice. And let's just do the last section. Lalardasthane rudraya namaha.
ललाटस्थाने रुद्राय नमः ललाटस्थाने रुद्राय नमः.
Very good. Okay, so now I will go ahead and do the Agni mantra 5 times so that everyone can practice, and then I'll do the entire section through. Totho se vishpavedaro trenani kena pahima Agne pipruhi mahi gamsi. Totho se vishpavedaro trenani kena pahima Agne pipruhi mahi gamsi. Totho se vishpavedaro trenani kena pahima Agne pipruhi mahi gamsi. Totho se vishpavedaro trenani kena pahima Agne pipruhi mahi gamsi. Totho se vishpavedaro trenani kena pahi Agne pipruhi mahi gamsi. And now I'll do the full set. Om bhurбhuvasuvaha Om Namah Shambhave Chamayo Bhave Chanamah Shankaraya Chamayaskaraya Chanamah Shivaya Cha Shivataraya Cha Tothosi Vishpavedaro Trenani Kena Pahima Agne Pepruhi Mama Higumsi Im Om Bhurбhuvassuvarom Lalartasthane Rudraya Namaha. Okay, so since we only have about 5 minutes left and I need to stop in 5 minutes, I'm just going to do the Bhur Bhuva Suvaha lines 5 times each, so that hopefully it will be a little more clear where the swaras are. Okay, so the first one. Om Bhur Bhuva Suvaha. Om Bhurбhuvassuvaha. Om Bhurбhuvassuvaha. Om Bhurбhuvassuvaha. Om Bhurбhuvassuvaha. Okay, and now Bhurбhuvassuvaram 5 times. Bhurбhuvassuvaram. 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 Okay, so we'll stop there. And I just want to check, let's see what the comment was. Okay, thank you, Sasi Amma, but we'll start with you in the next session if you're available. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Sure. Does anybody have any questions about what we did tonight? I just want to check. Okay,
Amma,
sounds
I
like.
have a question, Amma.
Oh, okay.
The second sloka, it's Vanhirasi, right?
Yes.
Vanhi, H-I, okay, Vanhirasi.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And that is because of the specific rule of chanting, of pronunciation in Krishna Yajurveda that prescribes that switch of the sounds. There may be other sections of India or other Vedas where that word is not pronounced in that way. Each Veda has its own set of rules, and it's referred to as a Pratishakya. So for Krishna Yajurveda, it's the Taittiriya Pratishakya, and that is a set of shlokas that gives very, very detailed description of how these sounds should be pronounced. Okay.
First one, Amma, the Vibhurasi, is it pra or bra?
The first one, pra.
Yeah.
Okay, I know it's challenging in Tamil to Tamil script to distinguish between pa and ba and also pa and bha. But it would be P regular or P1, pa 1.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you, Amma.
Okay, sure, no problem. Any other questions?
So I wanted to ask, in all the verses, one is from one sentence from Rudram and one sentence from Agni mantra, is it?
Correct, yes. So both Rudram and these Agni mantras come from the Krishna Yajurveda, but from different parts of the Veda, different sections. And so the Namah Shambhave all the way to Shivataraya Cha, that's a specific set of mantras I'm sure everyone recognizes from the 8th Anuvakam, the one that starts Namasomaya to Rudraya.
Yeah, understood.
So that's the one from Rudram. And then the next line, which ends in Raudrikaranam and so on, That's a set of Agni mantras that comes in a different part of the Yajurveda.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
Sure, no problem.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so we are at 9:30. I have another meeting, so I'll stop there. Sri Gurubhyo Namaha. Thank you very much for joining, and we'll continue next Sunday in the next session.
Thank you, Amma.